Hey, good day, everybody. Hey, 15 self-sabotaging habits and how to avoid them. One of the things that our habits create our lives. And if we want to have an amazing life, we've got to really pay attention to our habits. We need to eliminate the habits that don't serve us. We need to add the habits that do serve us. So here we go. People tend to sabotage themselves through a myriad of ways, including self-doubt, and inability to accept mistakes, and consistent procrastination. Avoiding self-sabotaging habits is an essential part of growing into a healthy person, but it isn't always easy to do. A number of these habits can be difficult for people to spot in themselves. Identifying these kinds of negative habits, however, needs to be a priority for young business people who are just starting out, as it can save them a lot of time and grief in their professional and personal development. To find out more, we asked members of the Young Entrepreneur Council what self-sabotaging habits are particularly common in leaders and how to best handle them. And here's what they said to watch out for. Number one, imposter syndrome. I don't actually deserve any of my success. I'm a fraud. This is a common thought among many successful leaders that can have a disastrous effect on the way they function. To prevent this from impairing your ability to lead, always remember the difficulties you faced and overcome to get where you are today. If you've made it this far, you aren't an imposter. You just need some perspective. Number two, overworking. Self-sabotage is inherently human because it stems from biases like cognitive dissonance, which we all have. Leaders in particular often fall into the self-sabotaging habit of overworking. We think we need to constantly work because we're entrepreneurs, forgetting that the rest and recovery are equally important. This can be avoided by scheduling regular breaks into your workday. Number three, not admitting when you're wrong. It seems like a big problem right now is everyone taking a stance on things and not willing to admit they are not always right. Instead of just simply admitting they're wrong, they do the opposite and double down on their original opinion. Nobody is perfect. It's okay to be wrong sometimes. True self-growth comes from the lessons learned and how you move forward in those circumstances. Number four, procrastination. I had a problem with procrastination, and then I made a decision to do it now. And I put a sign up on my desk that says, do it now. And I had a saying in a frame that says, do the most productive thing possible at every given moment. And I started making that a habit. I started checking myself hour for hour to make sure I wasn't wasting time, that I was doing things that were leading me and moving me towards what I wanted to have happen in my life. So procrastination is a dream killer. It's so easy to allow yourself to dawdle to the last minute, telling yourself you still have more time. Unfortunately, waiting until a project or job has to be completed leaves little or no time to fix mistakes and do a thorough job. You can break the habit of procrastination simply by setting deadlines and mini deadlines for yourself to work toward your objective. Externalizing the blame. Externalizing blame can be a big impediment to personal growth. I often hear people blaming others when they are unsuccessful in a job, when they let their health go, or when they drop the ball on their personal passions. Owning it doesn't mean you are alone, that you alone are responsible, but it is freeing and productive because it allows you to accept your part in it and grow. Number six, making excuses. There's usually at least one variable we can find to blame for an unexpected outcome. However, placing blame should be avoided because it's a barrier to solutions. By taking the responsibility for failure, you allow yourself the opportunity to identify how the problem occurred and how to prevent it from reoccurring. Otherwise, you'll keep finding excuses for problems rather than solving them. I have a saying, you can make excuses or you can make money, but you can't make both. Number seven, applying emotion within decision-making. Generally, the fastest way to make a smart decision is to use data to determine an initiative's ROI, or rate of return, in order to justify moving forward or passing on the opportunity entirely. Many business owners, however, think too emotionally and limit themselves from being able to pursue promising campaigns or partnerships that can meaningfully grow their business. Number eight, outsourcing your thinking. I see a lot of entrepreneurs and busy people outsourcing their thinking to so-called experts and trusting their conclusions too readily without exercising some critical thinking and research on their own. Yes, it's important to outsource your time to experts and trained staff, but it's always prudent and wise to double-check their conclusions for big decisions as much as at stake. Number nine, having no vision for the future. self-sabotaging habit that leaders should be wary of is when they only think about the here and now. A great leader has to have vision for the future in mind. Of course, leaders should be able to be present, but the present should be decided based on the vision for the future. Number 10, lack of trust. If you're a leader, you probably got there by accomplishing loads of extra work by yourself. It's really easy to fall in the trap of, if I want it done right, I should do it myself. I see this a lot in my business. Big mistake. This mindset is a great way to burn yourself out and lose creativity. Don't forget, there are other people out there with great opinions and work ethic, so don't lose your sense of trust in others. And I think one of the things that happens is leaders get frustrated with having, doing the work to develop people, to train people, to equip them so that they can get the kind of results they themselves would get. I think the thing to do is get really good at equipping your people. And then you'll trust them more if you know that the things they're doing are the same things that you would be doing. Number 11, not having a routine. Having a daily routine can help you stay on track. For example, without any sort of daily routine, you may find yourself having to run to the grocery store multiple times a week to get items you're missing, or you might leave an important task until the end of the week and have to rush to get it finished. Instead, create a routine for yourself, for your work, and for personal chores. Number 12, lack of planning. Winging it works if you're going out for the weekend or playing a game. You should never wing it if you hope to run a profitable business. Make sure you plan out what you hope to accomplish, your future goals, your struggles throughout the year. Revise, grow, and improve based on what you learned the previous quarter to reduce the chances that you'll self-sabotage. Number 13, doing tasks without focus. I have a hard time focusing on one thing at a time, especially when I receive emails, messages, get interrupted by others. I now set a calendar event for everything on my agenda for the day, so I have no choice but to do it. This is a brilliant idea right here. I also uninstall Instagram or Facebook when I have an important task to do, and delegate tasks more now as well. 14, lost interest. One common self-sabotaging behavior I've noticed is that business owners often continue pushing long after they've lost interest in their idea. When this happens, you have to step back and analyze the situation. Ask yourself why you feel this way. What can change your thought process? Sometimes there's a simple fix. Other times you have to move on to something that inspires passion. And finally, 15, perfectionism. Are you going to be remembered by that email you spent 20 minutes writing, or would it have been equally successful if you hadn't rewritten it twice and pulled it out of the source? It's often our instinct to give everything our all, but lowering the level of effort we put into certain tasks can free up time to invest in more important things where that extra attention can yield more of a return.